to A Spiritual Remedy, where we explore practical ways to uncover life, connection, clarity, and joy. We provide spiritual tools and loving care for your personal transformation. My name is Sunshine Daye, and today we're talking about something super powerful. It is honesty. And yes, I know I've talked about honesty before, and yet it is a principle that we can't talk enough about. And it's just not like everyday honesty, like telling the truth when someone asks if you ate the last cookie. Was that you who ate the last cookie? But it's this deeper honesty, the kind that gives us strength, the kind that helps us to face those parts of ourselves and our lives that aren't working so that we can actually step into something better. You know, for a lot of us who experience addiction or sobriety, it means admitting it. It means, admitting it, whether it's drugs or alcohol or sugar or screen time or shopping or anything else that could possibly have a hold on us. And as hard as it may feel, it's actually the beginning of freedom. Right? I recently did a post and asked people about soft addictions, and sugar and coffee and screen time and cell phones were like the top three things. And when these things have a hold on us, like, oh, don't talk to me, I haven't had my coffee yet. When it had like, I can't be me unless I have coffee, is it really like an alcohol addiction? Right? I can't talk, I can't dance unless I've had a drink first, or I've had a hard day, I need to take the edge off, right? So what is addiction? And if we want to really look at honesty, this deeper honesty, it's when we keep doing something even when we know it's hurting us. Now, you might think to yourself, hey, I'm just shopping, but yeah, does that hurt your finances later on? Or, hey, I'm just doing screen time. Well, how does that hurt your interpersonal relationships? Or if the shows are your way of escaping, if it's the phone and endless scrolling, if it's sugar, that you can't function without it. Wow. And even when you know that it's hurting you, if you think or feel that stopping is impossible, you might be addicted to that. And even though people call it soft addictions, does it really matter? Because you end up being caught up in this loop where you reach for that drink or you reach for that cookie or the phone, hoping that you're going to feel better, only to find yourself, feeling worse over time. And you do it over and over again, because the truth is that alcohol addiction and drug addiction, it works the same way. And at first it may seem fun and harmless, or like, oh yeah, I have to have some ice cream before bed every night. But over a time, it starts making choices for you. It becomes such the habit, and your body responds and reacts to that. It changes how we think, it changes how we act, and it changes how we see ourselves. And then when we try to stop, it's almost like it fights back, convincing us that we need that bowl of ice cream, that we need, just another 10 minutes of scrolling endlessly, on social media. But here's the truth about that, is that we don't need it. We don't need it. And I know a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. I want to change that idea to face it till you make it. Face it till you make it. And I say that because the moment that we get honest and we face it, this thing has more power over me than I'd like to admit. Wow. This thing has more power over me than I'd like to admit. The moment we face it, something begins to shift, because when we face something, there it is. It's right there. Like it's in our face. And when it's in our face, we take the power away. When it's elusive and we leave it in the background and we don't face it, But when we do face it, we take its power away and we take our power back. When we're able to say, I need help with this, we step into our real strength. And I know that it doesn't seem that way all the time, but when you admit something, when you're honest, when you say, I need help, that's when you're stepping into your strength, because only strong people are courageous enough to say, I need help. That's why honesty isn't weakness, it's courage, and it's the doorway to change. Right? So the way out is why I labeled and titled the show A Spiritual Remedy, because there is a way out. And how to break free from our addictions, whether we call them addictions or soft addictions like sugar and shopping and social media and coffee. The answer is that we're not alone. You're not alone, beloved. The answer is you must remember who you are. And what do I mean by that? Well, who you are is not separate from the creative intelligence that created you. You are the creator's creation. Therefore, that which is true of the creative intelligence is true about you. That which is true about God is true about you. That which is true about spirit and infinite intelligence is true about you. Because when our creative intelligence, when our higher power, when our God, when spirit, when source is whole, perfect, and complete, and it creates you, you can't help but be whole, perfect, and complete. However, our addictions make us forget. This is sign language for forget it, like it wipes our memory away. And we think that that thing is our higher power. We forget the truth. But with certain actions, we can regain our knowing, right? When we take certain actions, we must be about action. And that's getting honest and say it out loud and write it down or tell somebody you trust. This thing has control over me. And that one thing right there, that one admittance will now begin to break you free from that which has you in its grips. And it begins to loosen its grips. And asking for help is another action step, whether it's from a trusted friend, whether it's from a group, a spiritual practice. We are not alone. There are many of us in many forms and fashion that have recovered and are living amazing lives, and so can you, even from these soft addictions. And then take the next right action. Maybe it's, not maybe, but for sure, it's, today I'm not going to drink. Today I'm going to put a timer on my scrolling time. Today, instead of having 2 or 3 cups of coffee, I'm going to taper back to 1 or 2 cups of coffee. It might be sitting in the silence. It might be envisioning your life without your addiction. What would you be doing if you didn't spend 4 or 5 hours watching these movies? Like, what could your life possibly be like? Taking these kinds of actions, connecting with that power and presence within you, that still small voice within you that is always a presence and never an absence, that is simply waiting for you to say, yes, I want to surrender, and I want to surrender to win. Like, these are the action steps that you can take right now. Because each action that you take towards remembering your wholeness, it brings you back to your true self, that you are not separate from your higher power, that you are not separate from the creative intelligence, that right where you are, this power and presence is. And so, beloveds, addiction in any form tries to make us forget who we are. But the truth is that we're never broken. You are not broken, and we're never separate. And as we take these small action steps, these honesty steps, we get to remember the truth of who we are. What's one soft addiction that you've noticed in your life? What's one small action that you can take today to loosen its hold? I've just given you a handful of actions that you can take, and I would love to continue this conversation. So remember to please reach out, leave a comment. if this has been wonderful for you, or if you've had an awakening as a result of it, or if there's some yeah buts, or if you want to connect with me, connect with me at vidaslc.org. This is where we get an opportunity to empower one another in recovery, through spiritual education, through spiritual practices, through spiritual community gatherings. You don't have to do this alone. You are never alone. And if you don't remember anything else, beloveds, remember this. You are already whole. Your addictions just helped you to forget that. But you are already whole. I'm here to remind you of that truth. All right. Until the next time, be well.